there? How's everybody doing and looking and looking? I hope each and every one of you guys are doing good and looking good. Okay, so a few things I have to announce. I want to begin with We See You Human Justice Organization. I made this post earlier, and I'm going to read it to you guys. The post said, okay. So I'm looking for males down my list who have been hit by a woman or a woman attacked a man, men in relationship, men who have been attacked by women in relationships. So my inbox was on fire today. Y'all hear me? I mean, it was I didn't realize, and as everybody knows, I'm a domestic violence survivor, so by no means do I go against any man, and anybody who hears me, I say this all the time. Some women are really abusive, okay? And by no means do I applaud anybody putting their hands on anybody else, period, okay? Now, the thing is, I turn around and I made this post, and I'm telling you, I had over 100 men that responded. This is no lie. And I wish I could tell each and every one of their stories, but we don't have enough time to tell each and every one of their stories. Y'all hear me? Okay, so I picked the three, and I got one person who's, I think, running a little bit late, or two people actually. The three men who their story was like, wow. Because I was in disbelief. I'm like, I didn't realize that so many women are abusers as well. And that's what they are, because you take advantage of that male and their tenderness towards you. A lot of women, on the other hand, value that. And I want to make that perfectly clear. Now, I want to say something. The reason why I made this topic is because I have a client who We See You Human Justice Organization has picked up. I was not taking any more cases, but I felt I had to take this one. And anybody who knows me knows I don't take child molestation cases, and I don't take domestic violence cases. However, in this case, it was domestic violence reversed. And our client is currently incarcerated. We See You stands behind him, behind the attorney who's backing him up. And I will make a post later on so that you guys see this. I want you guys to understand something, men, because it seems like it's harder for you guys to report it, or harder for them to believe. Report them. Let me get closer to the mic. Report them. Because no one has a right to abuse you physically, emotionally, or mentally. Because some people are very narcissistic, women and men, and they do this. So I'm going to introduce Gerald Hall, who is one of my Muslim brothers. Gerald, it is always a pleasure to have you around.
Thank you, Anna.
I'm glad you reached out to me.
I had to. It's been something that I hadn't shared with many people. And this happened 17 years ago. And I've been kind of keeping it, inside for a long time. Mm-hmm. It made me started looking bitter towards women at one time. But I couldn't take that situation and use it against all women. But it did make me take a step back, because this woman, at the time, we were both Christian. When we met, the vibe was there, the chemistry was there, the language was there. And then, we became friends, went to service together. We were working on our own ministry, and things were just looking good. And she was so powerful whenever she would preach, because we was in the ministry class, and she could preach. She would have people crying in it, and all of that. She could pray. So I seen this beautiful, godly woman But after about maybe 3 months, I started seeing another side to her. And of course, I looked at it as we're all human. She would get depressed sometimes, and I would try to encourage her. She would do good, then she would get depressed again. And then one night, I was over her place, and she said, "Let's watch a movie." And the movie was about witchcraft. It was about witches and about voodoo. And she said to me, her family was into that. So she kind of had that influence. So now I began to see that there was a struggle that was going on. It's like she wanted to be with God, but then she couldn't get rid of those demons. And she said her father cursed her when she was 3 and told her a man would never love her. And after she showed me that movie about witches and stuff like that, the very next day, I noticed how she would always try to accuse people of doing stuff to her. And no one was doing anything. Every time she would see somebody, oh, that's a witch. She tried to do something to me. She even tried to accuse me several times of doing stuff to her. So I noticed then she had an issue. So one night, I came home from work, and we had been staying together for about 3 weeks. Nothing happened. I said, can I just spread out your room for about a month and get my own place? I was a week away from getting my own place. I took a shower. When I came out the shower, she had this long knife in her hand. And she had this real dark, demonic look on her face. And she said, I want to go see my son in New Jersey. And I want you to give me the money. Mind you, I had been giving her money to help her with bills because I was staying there. I just had gave her some money. And she waited until I got indecent. I mean, if I wanted to tussle with her and stuff like that, I probably could have. But my thinking was, well, let me get dressed and get into a public environment where there are witnesses. I didn't want to take a chance on doing anything and there was no witnesses. So I got dressed. We got in the car. I drove to the ATM machine. Got out of the car. She wanted to show out in front of everybody. So she pulled out this knife. We went back and forth. She went to swinging. And I was blocking her arm, trying to keep her from cutting me. And she did cut me. She got me partially on my shoulder, like twice. And it looks like a fraternity mark, like when you get branded. She got me twice. Wow. And the first thing that came to my mind was don't hit her. Because I know whenever it comes to like domestic violence, sometimes women can get away with it. Although I was defending myself, I'm like, I better not hit her. So I just kept blocking her arm. And blood was not coming down my shoulder. She got my ATM card. We went inside, and the owner of the store was like, like, what's going on? I'm like, we had a misunderstanding. She cut me. It'll be all right. I got the money. I gave it to her. Came back outside. She tried to cut me again. She tried to show out in front of everybody. So this time, I grabbed it. She actually had locks. And I gently pulled her down to the ground. I was not thinking to hit her or do anything too rough because she might have could have used it against me, although I was defending myself. But I know how this system works sometimes, especially being a black male. It's used against us all the time.
Absolutely.
So when I graciously drug her down, she cut me again. So now I'm bleeding. The money, she dropped the money and the knife. Somebody picked up the money and took off running. So she still wound up not getting anything. See, but now I'm bleeding. Okay. And now I'm holding her, trying to calm her down. Somebody called the police. After about 2 minutes, she calmed down. She took off the road because we're on the state like 1 minute away. The officers came. I did a report. We went back to her house. She was gone. I called some close friends of hers and let them know what happened. How about they called me? The police came the next day. We went. They put out a warrant for her arrest. She was wanted in Atlanta. And some close friends called me about a couple of days after that, and said she had went back to New Jersey because she was wanted in Atlanta. Then I got a call again from them about 2 weeks after that, saying that her house that her mother stayed in got burnt down. Her mother got killed in the fire. See, good God don't like ugly.
Yeah.
He don't like ugly. And
Absolutely.
about 4 months after that, her son got murdered on my birthday. So my friends called me and told me that also. Yeah. So she robbed me basically to get $300 to go see her son.
And she never got there.
She never got there. And she never got the money. But I never knew she had that violent side to her. I never imagined she would rob me or do anything like that. All she had to do was just ask. But she decided to go that route. And like I said, in self-defense, I chose not to hit her. I probably could have hit her. If I had did that, I probably would have went to jail. So sometimes I would have. So usually
you would have, especially like 17 years ago. So you got to think about 17 years ago. This is when we went through the O.J. Simpson and Nicole Brown thing. It was around that time, maybe a little bit after, but the laws had really changed for the women, for domestic violence, to side with the women, and I believe you would have been incarcerated if you would have put your hands back on her. I really genuinely believe that.
And that's how I was thinking. Yeah. That's how I was thinking. I could have hit her. I just chose to gently pull her down and hold her. And that's probably what saved me. Although I was bleeding and had to go to the doctor and get, stitches and all of that. I was afraid to get violent with her because I would have got the worst end of the stick. Unfortunately, if I had got violent with her. So that's what men go through. I mean, Absolutely. It's like, do we fight back?
So my question is, did you file a police report against her?
Yeah, I did. I filed a police report.
What happened? What were her consequences?
She fled. So when we went back to the apartment, she was gone. Then went again the next day, she was gone. Yeah, so she was actually wanted in Atlanta. She was like a fugitive on the run.
And so, wow. That's insane.
Yeah. Yeah. But she did a good job at making it look like, she was this virtuous, righteous woman. But I don't know. I mean, it broke my heart because I was kind of like falling for her,
okay.
And I got the surprise of my life.
I'm
for
sure
$300. Yeah, for $300 that she could have just asked for.
Did you ever get any type of closure? That's my question.
With myself, I did, and I did with her.
Could you explain that to the listening audience?
Yeah. And it's more to it. I'm just telling that story, that part of it.
Absolutely.
I got closure because, you have to forgive people for you. When you forgive
let me tell
somebody.
y'all something I know about Gerald. And I'm sorry to interrupt you, Gerald. Gerald is one of the nicest people I have ever met in my whole entire life. This is, and I'm not just saying this, okay? I don't meet too many people with Gerald's heart. And everybody who knows myself as well as Gerald will tell you the same thing about Gerald I'm saying. He is genuinely, what you're saying right now is who he is. And that's the truth. Am I telling the audience the truth, Gerald?
You are.
Yes.
You are. But this right here this was a learning experience for me. Because all of my street friends would be like, you can't be Mr. Nice Guy, you can't be too generous to women. You'll get dogged out, you'll get played. I was never introduced to women, like that. My mother just told me to be a gentleman and be nice to women and everything will be fine. But I had to get introduced to the street woman on my own. So through all of that, I had to learn not to give myself too quick. I gave my heart too quick. And I probably missed red flags because you can't get blinded by love. So from that instance, I've learned to still be generous and still be nice, but not to give myself too quick. And that's what I did. I gave myself too quick and too fast. But I did forgive her for me because it was a feeling inside of me that was restless. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat until I forgave her. But I had to forgive Gerald first. So forgiving people doesn't mean that you gotta, try to hang out with them again or anything like that. Yeah. But I always forgive for your benefit because there's healing in forgiving.
Absolutely. You forgive them in your mind, even if you never talk to them a day in your life again.
Right.
And I'm really big on that. I'm a firm believer with all my exes. All my exes, listen clearly. If you are an ex, you are an ex for a reason. And I've forgiven everything that you've done. And I'm saying it on air if there was any bad blood. However, life goes on. Move on with your life as I've moved on with mine. And really, we have nothing else to go back to. I've forgiven you, and I hope you forgive me because, I actually put up a post about that. Maybe I've damaged people and I didn't realize it. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we do things we don't even realize to others. So, but I don't see you ever hurting a fly. I'm going to be very honest with you, Gerald. I would never believe it if anybody, I'd be like, not Gerald. Nope, not Gerald. We see you stands behind Gerald Hall. I doubt that.
Well, I will defend myself.
You're supposed to.
Exactly. I will defend myself and my loved ones. Like I kind of defended myself against her. To do. Yeah, you got to defend yourself. You got to do that. That's the only way. If it's not self-defense, I believe in trying to talk it out. If that don't work, I just let it go.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So now, does anybody have any questions about what he's talked about? Because that was deep. That was really deep. So, how are you allowed to just hit on men, rob them? Well, attempt rob, and then somebody else ends up running with the money. So it didn't even work out to your advantage. But, even though you stole from this man. And I'm glad you're talking about it after 17 years because this is healing. Because that's humiliating for a man. A man is supposed to protect, but now you're being violated. Your rights are being violated. You see what I'm saying?
And then,
just as women. Go ahead.
It looks like it was more premeditated the way it happened. It was premeditated. So she probably had been thinking on doing that for some time. Probably had been. And when I think back on things, it's some red flags that I probably overlooked. And, that's the danger of being too generous sometimes. Sometimes we can kind of like turn a blind eye to certain things. Don't turn a blind eye to anything. As soon as you see a red flag, you need to address it and don't look the other way. Never look the other way. It can get you in trouble. When she first told me about the witchcraft and things like that, that was my sign then that I should have backed away, but I still stuck around. And that's what happened. So I overlooked that red flag. Never overlook red flags. Never.
And I agree with that. A lot of times, even being a domestic violence survivor myself, it seems like we try to fix this person. We tell ourselves, well, maybe if we overlook this, maybe if we give them a chance, maybe I was overreacting. Maybe it was a little bit, let me give them another chance. But they're actually entrapping you to corner you to eventually take really literally all your self-esteem in different ways. Some it's physical abuse, some it's mental, and some is verbal abuse, which all boils down to the same thing. Gerald, if you could hang on, because I want you to hear now Joelle's story. because you're going to see how one connects with the other. Joelle, how are you? Thank you so much for taking out of your time. And I appreciate you coming on to my platform to talk about what happened to you. So now, if you could explain your story, please.
Hola,
Gerald, if
hola,
you could
hola.
mute, please. Hola, ¿cómo estamos? ¿Cómo estamos?
How you doing? How you doing?
Estoy bien, estoy bien. Huepa, mira, tenemos a un latino aquí. You guys, I brought a Latino into my platform tonight. A Latino into my platform. Let me rephrase that, right? Because we're from the Caribbean. Uno de mis hermanos del Caribe, vamos. Uno de soné bien cubana, ¿no?
Tú sabes, mi sangre. So I do want to get into, because Gerald, your story did mirror mine in so many ways. So many ways. And I got to really start off with the red flags, because if you see a red flag, run the other way. You feel what I'm saying? You can't, especially when you're dealing with somebody who's supposed to be grown and an adult and mature. When you see those things that go against that, it's time to go the other way, because you're going to set yourself up for a problem. So my red flag was that she drunk every day. She drunk every single day. Now, just like you were saying, Gerald, in your story, how she had her trauma from when she was a child, the girl I was dealing with had her trauma from childhood, and I kind of overlooked it, because I saw the drinking as a way of her escaping her trauma. You feel what I'm saying? So that was a red flag that I probably should have acted upon. And there were several more red flags that were given to me. I guess one of the main ones is that she had an open case for domestic violence when I met her. So, and I think that, like Anna was saying earlier, you overlook it, and me, I was trying to overlove her. I was trying to pour so much love into her so that she could come out of that dark, whatever dark space she was in.
Joelle, if I may interrupt really briefly, and I want you guys to understand this goes both ways, because I've done it myself. I nearly lost my life, as you guys know. I was in a coma. I almost didn't pull out of this with the domestic violence, and I'm gonna tell you guys. You try to love these people who literally suck the living life out of you. It'll be this little thing that gets taken away, this little thing, and then they make you feel guilty, and you're like, okay, well, okay, and then you're like, well, and then eventually it's like you've lost everything. So and then, friends, family, everybody slowly but surely. And now I've gotten to the point where even if I try to, because I'm like you guys, I'm like you fellas, I'm a fixer. I see a problem and I want to solve it. I want to fix it. I'm a nurturer. That's who I am. And it'll bite you in the ass. You guys excuse my French. I'm no longer a pastor, so don't get on my ass, okay? But, it will literally bite you in the ass when you try to nurture and love a person who is damaged, and they're going to damage you worse. Understand this, guys and ladies, especially guys, because we're talking about guys tonight. They're going to damage you worse. Joel, sigue.
Okay, so on my particular situation, I had went through, well, first, we celebrated our anniversary every month. That was part of my overloving. You feel what I'm saying? Because that was something.
And I would see the pictures. Really nice stuff.
That was something that
back in the day.
Right. So I would make sure we either going out somewhere, we was out on a trip, or whatever. She would have nice gifts, whatever. And so this particular day was our anniversary, and I went through her watch and I saw a a conversation between her and another guy. So because I knew how she was, she wasn't accountable for anything that she did. She would divert, put it like that. She would divert. She would find a way to divert. So I chose
gaslighting.
Yeah, right, there you go. So I chose not to say anything about it. I just knew. Now I know. But we have a whole event to go to. So let's still enjoy our anniversary. We're still gonna go to this event. Now this is my overloving once again. So she comes home. I bought her a diamond bracelet. Gave her a diamond bracelet. She likes it. She loves it. We in there. We get dressed. We go to the event. Now the whole time I haven't said anything about what I've seen. We took pictures. We did everything. So we get to the event, and we're at the event, and we up in the VIP section. And I'm having a conversation with another young lady that happened to be a teacher about some students in our class. The young lady I was dealing with was sitting right in front of us. So she was privy to everything that was being said. While we're having the conversation, I put my hand on her back to motion towards somebody across the room. Well, after I finished doing that, my then girl jumps up and say, "I'm ready to go." So I said, "Okay." Now she doesn't drink hard liquor. On this particular night, she was on hard liquor. So because I don't want you to embarrass me, come on, let's go. Let's go. So we leave, we get on the elevator, and she's telling me, she's like, "Well, I feel like you disrespected me because you put your hand on her back." I said, "Huh? What?" So, but these are the things that these type of individuals do. Whenever they're doing something, they try to
reverse it.
Right. You feel what I'm saying? They try to put it on you. And I'm like,
Now, if I may interrupt you really briefly, now let me ask you a question.
Okay.
And if I may, and let me make this disclaimer to the public. Well, first of all, these are all allegations. This is their belief of what to be true that happened with their situation, right? And I got to make that disclaimer, guys, because they tried to sue me a few different times for saying things. So I just want to make sure that it's out there. The other thing I wanted to say is Joel is of Hispanic descent. Okay, so now understand one thing: we're touchy-feely. We hug, we kiss on the cheek, we touch you. We're not getting fresh with you. We don't want you. Understand this. We don't want you. We're not flirting at all. That's who we are. So go ahead, Joel.
Right. So as we're having this conversation, and she's telling me how she feels, so and she said I disrespected her, and all I'm thinking in my head, if that is disrespect, then what do you call that you're doing communicating with this other guy? So I asked her about it. I said, "Well, since we're talking about disrespect, then tell me about this guy in your phone." "Oh, I don't talk to him anymore, and I don't have his contact." Well, we're talking about Apple products that keep the timestamp, the date, everything.
Absolutely.
Right. So now I know that you're lying to me. So once we get in the car, now mind you, me and this woman had been through so much. And it came more from me trying to help not only her, but her children as well. Because I felt like her children were going through a lot of things that they didn't have to go through because of her. So we get in the car, and I'm like, "Okay, well, I tell you what, you have to get out of my house." And the main reason why that was my way of handling things was because not only are you being disloyal, but you're lying to me. I can't trust you.
I know that's right.
I can't trust you. You know what I'm saying?
I'm with you, Joel. I'm with you.
Right. And so now if had she been honest about what she was doing, we probably would have still went home, probably slept in different spaces, talked about it the next day. There probably could have been some resolution to it. But because
and that's what I believe. And I'm sorry to interrupt you. That's what I genuinely believe. If people can just tell the truth, we can get past it. But if I know you lied to me, I'm sure you lied to me. I done caught you. And you still lying. Mira, papa. Goodbye. We're done. We're done, puppy. We are done. And you just might not know it, but it's coming. Right. Go ahead.
And this wasn't the first time that I had caught her in a lie. You know what I'm saying? So I knew that she was, because that was her way of getting out of her situations. You know what I'm saying? So we get in the car, and as I'm telling her that she has to get out, she's like, "Oh no, you got to give me 30 days." Well, okay, but no, I don't. You have to get out of my house tonight. And when I said that, she decided to swing on me while I'm driving. Hits me dead in the eye. Well, unlike you, Gerald, I felt the need to defend myself. This wasn't the first time that she hit me, and not only that, but in front of people, and I haven't responded. But in a situation where I'm driving, that makes it a little different, because now you're putting both our life in danger. Because if I swerve over and hit a family of 3 that's driving down the street, then we have a more serious problem. So now I'm fighting her off as I'm driving down the street, trying to keep the car on the road. I find now she lays on her back and starts using her feet. I grab her leg and try to hold her leg still. She then goes to using her hands. Okay, well, I really don't have a win because I don't have one hand. I got one hand to her 2 feet and 2 hands. So I pull the car over. She gets out the car. She takes off running. I go home. I call the police. I report, but where I live at was a different county. So they told me, you have to go back to that county and make the report. Okay, cool.
And what state was this in?
This was in Georgia.
Georgia.
Right. So after the police left my house, because she already had an open case for domestic violence, I decided, you know what, I'm not going to put another one on her. I just need her to come get her stuff and get out of my house. That was my thought process. But because she had already been through it and she already knew, and what I did was I took the paper that the police gave me, took a picture of it on my door, and told her, don't come into my house unless you come to get your things. So she took that. Now I know that you're lying to me. You say what?
Go ahead. No, I'm sorry. I was scrolling. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, so because she knows how domestic violence goes, she took the step to go ahead, especially after she saw the picture of the police paper on my door. She went ahead and pressed charges. When I was actually still thinking about her and trying to keep her from having to go through that another situation. So they ended up putting a warrant out for my arrest. I also ended up pressing charges, and the thing about it is just all the evidence showed that I was attacked.
And so now let me ask you a question, because if you're driving, so I got to put myself in your shoes, right? And like I said, again, women, there's your shows where we talk about you. I did this show strictly for men that have been physically assaulted and abused by women that they have dated, because a lot of men don't talk about it. Let's talk about this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you're driving. Y'all, it's kind of hot in the car. Don't nobody want to be talking to nobody right now. It's getting, tempers are flaring. There's alcohol involved on her end. So I'm assuming that if you get hit, it's going to come from the passenger side this way. Right. So if you're driving, I would think that you're going to get hit this way. Now, did you get pictures at that time when this happened? Did you what did you do as proof? Because see, this is the thing I need you guys to understand. A lot of men are scared to report this stuff because they're embarrassed and they're ashamed. Whether you guys want to believe this and women want to believe this or not, I wish more men would be commenting right now, because I know that it bothers you guys. I had to go live, and I wasn't going to go live today. We were going to pre-record this, but I thought it was very important to let it out, because I have a client right now who's sitting in county for the same thing that happened to Gerald and for the same thing that happened to Joel. And this is my thing. Women, keep your hands to yourself. Because if I was a man and you come at me like you're a man, then I'm going to handle you like you're a man. You're asked for it. As well as I tell men, keep your hands to yourself. Respect that woman and love her and nurture her. But keep your hands to yourself. It's not embarrassed, just we are second-class citizens in the legal system. Is that what it is? Is it the legal system for each of you?
Well, I think I can't really say the legal system. It for me, when it came to her, it was me keeping her out of getting into more trouble than she was already in. Because I had situations where people were right there and she did it in front of people. So, you know, if I would have called the police, it wouldn't have been my word against her word. It would have been everybody standing out here word. But I think that embarrassment is a small part of it. I think embarrassment is a small part because we're men. You feel what I'm saying? Like it's almost like demasculating.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You feel what I'm saying? But because we love these women so much, you feel what I'm saying? And you know, you that's just a hard thing to
it's a hard pill to swallow.
Right. And to be honest, I know other men that's going through the same thing that haven't reported it.
And that's why I'm doing this show, because this is why, this is why I put up, y'all, I'm telling you, I had over 100. I should do a few shows on this because I had over 100 responses on Anna. I didn't want to post on there, but I was abused. And this was my story. Some of these stories, some of these women, so una abusadora, you women are abusers as well. And I have to stand with, and Joel, you have been to events where I speak up for domestic violence against women in October. That is my big thing that Lunchtime with Anna does every year. But you're not going to be sitting here touching on men neither and doing what you want. It's wrong. So, Joel, let me ask you a question. Do you think that she was narcissistic and it was that, or do you think it was more mental health, or well, alcohol is mental health, right? If you drink a lot, you have to drink every day, you have a problem. That's right. Mental health. Right. You're covering up something. You need the drug, right? What do you think it was?
I think it was a mixture of both of the narcissisticness and mental health, because I remember a time that, and this was like one of the biggest red flags I had when it came to her. I was at work. She texted me, and what she texted me was, give me 3 reasons to live. Now, when she said that, automatically, okay, so she's at the house thinking about killing herself. So I tell my supervisors, hey, I got to go. You know what I'm saying? Because anytime somebody tells you that they're thinking about killing themselves, you're their gap. You're their savior. You're the only person that can save them at this point. So I head to the house. I have cameras in my house. So I decided to look on the camera while I was heading home to make sure that she wasn't going to do anything crazy. Well, when I get on the camera, she's having a conversation with her daughter. Her daughter is 7 years old. She asked her daughter, what would you do if you never saw mommy again? Now that is when I knew that she had some type of mental, because you don't ask a 7-year-old nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you know what type of damage you may be doing to this child by asking her such a question? As soon as the last word came out of her mouth, the little girl started crying. Just busted out crying. So which means she understood what her mother was asking her. So you know, it's I think that it was a little bit of narcissistic and mental health, because she didn't know how to. She wanted to control everything, good and bad. Good and bad. If it was something that she did that wasn't right, she would do anything necessary to divert it. Even start an argument. She'll turn it. It could be a simple conversation. She will make sure to turn it into an argument.
I'm sorry. I had to unmute. Now, anybody who's there listening, have you guys been either the abuser, and I'm talking about women, been the one who was the abuser, who couldn't keep your hands to yourself, or are there men who, you don't have to tell your story if you're not comfortable, but just say, me too. You know, Gerald, how do you feel about his story?
I definitely agree. And I can feel this story. You know, I'm in agreement with him on everything, especially the part about, you know, trying to love somebody so much that you think they're gonna love you back. And that's what I tried to do in my situation. I just tried to give so much love and then hope on a wing and a prayer that they're gonna return this love back to me. And it never works. In fact, you get hurt more. And then the thing about the system, you know, for me being a African American or a black male, all while that altercation was going on, I was saying to myself, I can't hit her because she is swinging this big old knife at me. I might need to jab her and knock the hell out of her. I'm defending myself. I got witnesses, but a black man?
I'm just saying, I could just knock her out real quick.
Yeah.
You know?
That's what I was saying. I balled my fist up a couple of times. Right. I balled my fist up a couple of times, but I've seen how a lot of black men get done by this system with evidence that it wasn't their fault. I've seen how black women have even used situations like that and take it to an extreme. And now the black man's behind bars and it really was her fault. So it's a lot that we got going against us. So I couldn't get violent like I wanted to, thinking that I don't want to wind up in jail for something that I shouldn't go to jail for. So I took those cuts on my shoulder, but I wasn't going to let her kill me. So I was like, let me just figure out how I can do this without being violent. So, you know, I had to gently drag her down and hold her. But I really should have hit her. But I was thinking that might not work in my favor, even if I'm right. So this is what and it's not just black men. I think all men have to deal with that when women are being violent. If we hit, it's a 50-50 chance. We defended ourselves, but he hit me. It usually doesn't go our way. That's why a lot of men
I don't like the sound of that. Like, you should be able to say, you know, yes, she did this. Like I said, I was in a coma and everything. I almost lost my life. So, you know, and a lot of times, look at Joel's story. He was then in turn accused of domestic violence. Does she even remember if she was drinking, if she was the one that hit you first? Because I would have gotten witnesses from that night and I sure would have had them go to court.
Most definitely. And Gerald, you know, here's the thing, because out of all the times that she had done it before, there were times when I didn't do nothing at all. I would just take the hit. There were times when I would restrain her. You feel what I'm saying? But she never had a busted lip, a black eye. You feel what I'm saying? I would just put her in a position where she couldn't do anything anymore. But that particular situation, you hit me while I'm driving. That kind of changed the game for me, because now I know I have to defend myself. Yeah, because you blatantly don't care about your life or my life.
Right.
Especially if you
well, what are you supposed to do? You know, if you just I'm sorry. It's like a reaction for me. Like, you hit me, I hit you back. Like, our parents raised us, right? if somebody puts their hands on you, if you don't whoop their ass, I'm gonna whoop your ass when you get home. I mean, I'm sure all of us have heard this at one point or another in our household growing up. So I asked myself, really? Okay, so you guys, as you guys see, I have Perez's Way here. Now, this was a girl, a woman. This is my home girl, guys. This is my home girl who did the opposite of what you fellas have gone through. Miss Perez, you look beautiful.
Hi, how you guys doing
glasses. Tonight? Good. How are you, mommy? How are you? So tell us your story. Okay, so we lose her right when we're telling her story.
yeah. And I don't know if I was I previously tagged on the wrong airline or what? Because I had been literally sitting somewhere saying that nothing started and no one can see me, but the speed, I'm like, Lord, where am I? So this is a new link
that's
you
what.
sent me.
Yeah, I had sent you guys a new link because we were going to just record it. But last minute, we all decided to just go live. So I sent everybody a new link and I said, just log into this link, not the old one. But I guess you went on the old one.
Yeah, because I was driving, so I couldn't keep up with all those messages.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Jasenia, I apologize about that.
Hi, everyone.
So tell us your story.
All right. So obviously, like you just said, I haven't been here. So I do not know what all has been said and what exactly are you asking me to tell at the moment. I need to be precise.
Okay, so we have Gerald, who was robbed and attacked by a woman who he was actually dating, who reversed domestic violence, right? Usually it's us women getting beat up by these guys, but it was reverse domestic violence. Joel, on the other hand, they kind of went back to saying things that they saw, like mental health issues, alcohol issues, stuff like that. And then the domestic violence and how it started out and how the manipulative ways, really, that's what it boils down to, right? So now we have you here.
Just to clear it up, I just want to be clear. Are you saying that in Joel's situation, he was noticing the escalation with the habits and the drugs on the female side, the perpetrator side, before the attacks started coming?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And it wasn't only, there was more than once, but when he went to go press charges, really, he was told that he was in the wrong county because he was driving while this happened, while he was attacked. And so then she goes and she files a report before him and he got in trouble. And I have a client right now from We See You Human Justice Organization who kind of has that type of same thing going on. Domestic violence reverse, women hitting on men. So Jasenia, tell your story, tell us your side and your view on that.
So on
putting hands on people.
Yeah, so I'm guessing you want me to talk about the opposing side, the actual person who does this. So okay, so yes, what she's not saying to you guys, I guess, is that I have been that person. So I have been that woman who has became the abuser, as they say. So and also, but prior to that, years of course of being the victim. And even so, here we have it. How does that happen? So basically, in a relationship, and the woman does not probably always know what she's getting into, which is something we do sometimes, lacking and looking and yearning and searching for the wrong things in the wrong area. So boom, you get into a situation you don't know, and then here comes so remind yourselves, I'm 43. I'm talking about a situation that was 2 years ago. 41, but I'm not a baby. I'm not a young sprout. You see, intimidated, don't know about the world, never been through these situations. That would have been different stories. So this particular story, I'm at this age. So the person like Joelle talked about, you see the escalation of the street drugs and the alcohol and the attitudes and the verbal and those things, right? Right. And then suddenly here comes the abuse, right? From the person. So this person started with the drugs and the alcohol and became belligerent, combative when they were drunk. So I'm guessing they were, dual using secretly, all these things. So now here I am, a victim again. Oh Lord, whoa. So at first I'm timid, I'm afraid. Out of nowhere, you see, because I'm an older person. So out of nowhere, maybe my PTSD struck in. I don't know. But from night to day, after getting abused for no reason, being afraid, walking on eggshells, almost like a basket case, the way my nerves were. And I guess about 5, 6 months into it, living that way. Out of nowhere, one day, I just flipped the script. He came and attacked me, pushed me
I'm
up
not
against the
laughing,
wall.
guys. I'm not making light out of it at
Yep.
all.
And
But
the next thing you know, his grandma,
you're
his
a
mother,
small girl.
his 90-year-old mother had told her niece who lived there, go outside and go get Jay, which is what they called me, for protection against him. But instead, she ran back inside and said, Grandma, they straight. Jay got it this time. So what I had did is I had just clicked against the wall, took my two hands, and just went to do 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 do. Before you knew it, I'm backing him up.
Heck no.
He's shocked. He dropping things out his hands. And from that moment on, I kept it up. I kept it up. He couldn't look wrong. He couldn't speak wrong. He couldn't do nothing wrong. Boy, I'd give it to him. He'd be driving out, getting my 2 feet and give him the busyness all through the streets. Let everyone see it. Yep, I became a physical abuser. And it had went on for about 4 or 5 months of just anytime I felt like it, anytime you looked at me wrong.
So you just put your hands on him just for the hell of it?
Maybe it was just for the hell of it, or maybe it was just from every damn thing you have done, or maybe who knows. But I became, yes, basically. And it was whenever I felt like it, anytime I said so, and it is what it is. It is what it is. Busted eyes, busted lips, busted nose. I didn't give a shit. Yep, I used to have to walk around with glasses, and it was crazy because all of the streets had known him for being a womanizer, abuser, even beating, knocking out. They call it one-hitter critters. Even one-hitter critter to men on the street who go for bad. That's who this guy was. That's what he was known for. So it was just a shock. But see, he got so out of his mind and belligerent, and it was like that. And so it's easy, I guess. It was my first time in my life ever doing something like that. I never in a million years ever thought that I could be that person, as many times as I cried and asked why this would happen. And that's not, this person has to be evil or whatever. But I think at that time, a piece of me, I was going through a lot in other situations, and I think a piece of me was saying, you know what, I am so tired of being the victim. You know what? It's not my turn anymore. You know what? It's anyone else's turn but mine. It's anyone else's turn but mine. And that's what happens when you allow yourself to be the victim too many times. It is very easy to become the victimizer.
Okay, so now I like the way you said that, Ms. Perez. Gerald and Joel, what is your response to what she said, in your opinion? Perez, please mute real quick.
Response to what she just said. I guess I look at it, once you test somebody with violence and they don't come back at you with violence, depending on what type of person you are, you take advantage of the situation. And it could have been a thing to where he was thinking like me and Joel. I better not get violent back, or I'm going to be the one that's going to be accused. That could be what he was thinking, because that's how most men think. And you know, like you said, Anna, you got some women who take advantage of those situations. And most men don't fight back for the fear of we going to jail. I mean, we could be all blooded up, all 2 black eyes and a busted lip.
But now listen, she says he abused her for so long. She was like, oh, hell no. She just got up. She said, oh, hell no. It's over now.
And that could be him feeling guilt.
Actually, it was,
she put them hands on him.
Actually, it was more like, I could understand hell no. That became later when I was being the abuser. But initially, it was more like, I will not be afraid and I will not let you hurt me. I guess in fear of being hurt. It's almost like me or you. Now it's me or you. So I guess that's a form of hell nah, but it was just like me or you. I'm tired of it. Me or you. What could happen? You've done beat my behind so many times. You done choked me out till I couldn't breathe so many times. My face done been scratched up. My lip done been busted up so many times. You done bust my stitches already. You know what? It's me or you this time. It's me or you. So that's more like what happens.
You got men who beat on women and take advantage of women, but they won't go that route with another man. But then when a woman,
yes,
they're not going to do that to another man.
Girls,
but
they can
when
get
that woman finally,
woman, but never with a man.
But right. when that woman finally stands up and put hands on him like that, that really shows you what type of man he's been all along.
Now can I make a good point?
Because, go ahead, Joel.
Yeah, because I'm listening to Perez's way, and you know what she went through and how it transitioned. It's kind of flipped, but it can also go for a woman that's just come out of a relationship like that, going into a new relationship. You feel what I'm saying? Because triggers,
the trauma.
Yeah, right. The
triggers.
And it might not even be nothing that you're doing purposely or intent. It could be a song you play. It could be anything. You know what I'm saying? It takes her back into that space. And then she feels like, oh, well, now let me bring this. So I don't ever have to, but see, that's where it gets sticky at. That's where it gets sticky at. And also Perez Way was saying how she was going through so many different things and probably using, the frustration from those things to take it out on him, which I saw a lot of that as well. Man, listen, like if you're going through something at work, it's supposed to stay at work. You don't bring that home.
I know that's right.
Yeah, you don't bring that home. But then when you bring that frustration and that aggravation home, then yeah, you already on edge. You already prepared to stir up some drama.
I do agree with Joel, as I do with Perez, as I do with Gerald. We all make mistakes, right? Like I said, some of us have been the abuser in a relationship. But let me tell you one thing, and I don't in any shape, form, or manner applaud domestic violence at all. I don't care if you're a man or a woman. If they put their hands on you and they start abusing you, you need to stick up for yourself. There needs to be a movement that is for men, that is us men too. This happened to me too. She got away with this. Because it's not right and it's not fair. And it's degrading. I think it's more degrading for a man than it is for a woman in all actuality, because the man is the head. At least that's how I look at men in my world. You know what I'm saying? You lead everything. You're provider, you're protector. But now you're getting beat up. You're no longer any of those. Anybody else have anything to say?
And I will say that it's even more embarrassing when it's done in front of other people. And that's for either a man beating on a woman or a woman beating on a man. Just like Perez Way said, she'd do it in the street, let everybody see it. You know what I mean? Like yeah, that's real. That's heavy. You know what I'm saying? That's heavy.
And most men were told to never hit a woman. We were told to never hit a woman no matter what. Walk away, but sometimes she can't walk away. So, I was operating under that training. I'm not going to hit a woman, although she's swinging at me. I'm not going to hit her back. I just see if I can grab her and hold her. So that's the mindset of a man. But then those who do hit women are placed in a category of being a deadbeat, abusive, and it is some men like that. But we don't want to get categorized with those types of men. So once again, it's like a catch-22 type of situation, Anna. Like a catch-22. But at the end of the day, really, you need to defend yourself and let the chips fall where they may.
And that was the point. And guys, get groups that support you. Like, I know one thing I love about the nation is that they support each other. They really do. Gerald is you're part of the nation, correct? You're Nation of Islam, correct?
I am.
Because I know that
Yes.
there's Nation of Islam and there's Muslim. But so I so strongly, being from the Caribbean, and I guess my African roots, that yes, we do have African roots. Perez is from the Caribbean, as you see. She's Puerto Rican like me. Joel is of a different descent from the Caribbean also, and he's darker than both of us. You know what I'm saying? So it's in our bloodline. And so much of what the nation talks about, I believe in. And the unity within us original people that is within the nation, I absolutely love. And I respect that. And I've told you that a million times, how much I respect the nation and, their unity and what they do for us, people of color, original people, altogether, and for themselves. Now, I have to ask Joel, Gerald, what, in your opinion, as men, can be done? Because if you contact me, We See You Human Justice Organization, and I know that what you're telling me is true, I'm going to stand by your side, as we are after our client, Carlos. And we're backing him up. And I will go to court, and I will write whatever letter, and we will back him up in every possible way, because you're not going to be putting your hands on any man, period. So what can we do as original people for a solution? That's the $1 million question.
Right.
I think that number one, some legislation needs to be written to support men when they are the ones being abused. That's number one.
Okay.
One of the biggest things that I thought about was, if you have a previous record of domestic violence, I believe that you should have to register just as a sex offender. Yeah. So that you aren't able to, and I'm talking about when it comes to women, well, men and women, but more so for women, because the system they're on their side from the beginning. But if you have a history, if you already have a shown history of doing this, and now we have to look deeper into this case than just what you're saying.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Final thoughts for each of you guys. This has been a great broadcast. Great. I mean, I want to bring up this topic. I had so many responses back. I want to bring up this topic throughout the year over and over again, because women, it is not okay to put your hands on a guy. It is not okay. No. Bradley wrote, They pitched that registry idea for abuser a few years ago. And see, that's what I was talking about, Bradley, earlier. See, so if you guys remember, it was around 20 years ago, the Nicole Brown and O.J. Simpson trial, all of that. The laws really changed towards the woman, geared towards the woman for domestic violence because of that. And I've seen women who literally abuse the hell out of a guy, and I feel bad because I'm like, he's not gonna, and they don't call the police. They don't say a word. If anything, I've heard guys say, stop it, baby, stop it. What is that? You know, and I almost feel like maybe one of us women should jump on you the way you're jumping on him and get an ass whooping from one of us that can fight. Maybe it'll work, right? The way that guys do, put you know, instead of hitting her, hit me, you know, let me put my hands on you and show you what time it is. Maybe that's what us women should start doing. I'm just looking for a solution. I like that solution of the laws. Anybody who's down with it, I will get a group of us together. We will bring it. You know, both of you are in Georgia. We will bring it to Georgia, and I will bring it here to Florida as well. And, you know, maybe start there. Maybe just bring it up on a ballot and then make it eventually where it's across every state, and it is an issue that's constantly happening. Because again, it's not okay to put your hands on anybody. I don't care who you are. I don't care how mad you are. Like, just do that. You know, but don't ping, ping, ping. You know, I'm gonna give you papao, like we say in Puerto Rico, papao. You know. So Gerald, any final thoughts?
Well, I'll say this, as we're taught in the nation, you know, us original people, a lot of stuff was done to us through slavery, and we may not even recognize or know that we still suffering from post, you know, slavery.
You know, that makes
we
sense.
We were taught that the male was put against the woman, and the woman was put against the male. So we were taught how to be violent towards each other. So these are like engrams.
That makes sense.
And things that a lot of us are suffering with from over 400 years ago. That's really what's going on. And that's why it's so important for us to learn our history as original people. Sometimes if you just sit down and say, look, the reason you're acting this way towards me, because this is something that was done to you or us over 400 years ago, and we still just acting it out. And that's really what's going on.
I'm sorry, but somebody puts their hands on you, defend yourself. I don't care what nationality
defend yourself,
you are.
exactly.
But us original people, I could see that, you know, with especially, you know, the three of us are from the Caribbean. And Gerald, you are a black male, right? So I can see where that, you know, the slavery, the, you know, you're taught, you know, I can speak for Puerto Ricans. We were Taino Indians. We don't exist. That's where the African and the Indian and this mix of the European or Spaniard comes in. And, you know, it's just something that you got to ask yourself, does this even make sense? Because in Puerto Rico, you see a lot of these passionate killings. And now that you say that, that makes sense. Yo, you play me, I'm going to play you because it's in our bloodline.
Yeah.
That's our DNA has been switched.
Right.
Really, that's what you're saying, to believe that that's okay. That's interesting. That is really interesting. I like that.
So
anything
we have a
else
program.
From anybody? Go ahead.
We have a program in the Nation of Islam called auditing.
Okay.
It's an auditing program that we have in the Nation of Islam. And, you know, and that program right there, basically, it helps get anger and things out of our system. It's a certain process that we go through to help. It helps gets the anger, stuff that could have been back from childhood. You'll visit that situation, and it's a method, it's a process that can get all of that blockage and stuff out of you. So that auditing program works. And get with me on it. And it's not just for Nation of Islam. It's open for anybody. So
And
that's
you know
that's one
what?
answer.
I want some more information on that, because that is a solution. You know, I'm not just going to do these shows and not give a solution, right? Because we're not just going to talk about the negative, because we're really, because of the panelists that I have. And of course, Bradley has been giving a lot of input as well. But overall, we are attacking each other. And it didn't click in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but Bradley, on the other hand, he's Caucasian, and he said the last two women actually interviewed him a few years ago on something else. He was abused by women who I believe were Caucasian also. I'm not sure who his exes were, but I'm assuming. So then I asked myself, what the hell is wrong with us? We need a solution. I like that solution of restructuring your frame of thinking, because I'm the first to admit that if you put your hands on me, it's a reaction. I'm going to hit you back. I'm sorry. It's just a reaction. You're not going to put your hands on me. I don't care who you are. It ain't going to happen.
So can I ask a quick question?
I'll say white and Hispanic. Oh, bendito el pobre.
So is it some form of therapy? Because I think that's another big thing. People have to recognize their traumas and have some type of therapy, some place, a safe place to talk about it and release it. So I don't know if what you're saying that the program does almost the same thing. Is it a therapy setting, or is it another process that you all use?
You mean for the auditing?
Yes.
The auditing is kind of like therapy. Basically, we'll have that person go back to that traumatic moment in their life. Wherever that traumatic moment was that's causing them to act that way, like they're acting out now. We take them back to that moment. And then wherever they're feeling at that time, they confess that. Like I was beat as a child. I was beat as a child. I was beat as a child. We'll have them say that over and over again. We take them back to that moment. And there's a certain process that while we take them back to that moment, there's a certain process that's things that are happening at that time. And the key is that when that session is over, that traumatic moment is no longer there in their system anymore. So therefore, they won't go back to that.
So let me ask you a question, because think about it. With slavery and everything, it would mean that our DNA was switched. What if it's, I don't know why, but I just like to beat some ass. Let's say how it is. There's some people like that. And you guys excuse my French. Like I said, I'm not in leadership, so don't beat me up. What do you do then?
When somebody just said, I just like to beat some ass.
I love you too. And they're like, I just want to beat his ass because I want to beat ass. It just, something gets inside me and I just want to fight. Yeah. Because that would go back to our DNA and slavery and all of that and the anger. So what happens then? Is there a treatment for that?
Yeah, that's basically what the auditing session is about. So that's why we get the person to confess, okay, why do you just want to fight all the time? What happened in your life that makes you want to fight all the time? What happened to you as a young girl or as a young boy? Well, you know, when I was 8 years old, I got bullied. I got tired of being bullied. So all of a sudden, I started fighting back. And from that day, exactly. There's a moment somewhere in our lives that sparked that. So that auditing, it takes you back to that moment. Okay. And you revisit it. And you elaborate on it. And there's a process to where we have people who are qualified they do certain things. And I was just making a long story short.
Okay.
But when that process is over, the objective is for that person not to have that spirit or that trauma in their system anymore. Yeah.
And see, that's finding a solution.
Right.
That is looking for an answer. Because you have to deal with yourself before you can deal with others.
Yeah.
And I'm repeating it again. You have to deal with yourself before you can deal with others. So he says here, I talked to Anna about that as well, as I am violent prone to other men that want to fight. As long as they are not fighting from Asgard or Wakanda, I will roll with it. So I look at it like this. I hear somebody texting or something. Can you guys mute? So I look at it like this. If we find solutions, I like the laws. I really like what the nation is doing. These are the things that are good about the nation. Like, I hear such negativity about the nation. If you really just focus and look at the big picture, not the small picture, not the rumors of just look at the things that they do for the community, for us original people, your mind will change. Open your heart a little bit or a lot. Don't think it's just about, and I'll tell you, I met Gerald and I was a church leader. I was a pastor when I met Gerald, but we united as two different groups because our ideologies were a lot the same. It was about the love for our people.
That's right.
You understand? And that's what matters. Perez, do you have any final thoughts? Okay, I don't hear her. Well, with that being said, I will be interviewing for the next couple of weeks a few Indie Inc., aka Sony distributor band members. You don't want to miss this. They're extra talented, super talented, and take the time to listen. Guys, I'm back. I'm going to be filming. If you guys didn't see my post, I did just get, and actually just got the script today. I just got picked to be booked, right? That's what we call it. I just got booked to be a comic book character. I had red hair. I dyed it red. That's why my hair is extra dark right now, because I was like, I don't like the red, but I will wear a red wig this time around. I will not make that mistake again. But I absolutely am looking forward to it. There'll be a few other things that I plan on doing because I miss all of you guys. I miss all of this. By the end of this year, the official Lunchtime with Anna restaurant will be opening up. Please drop in. Please show love, because I will be staffing some disabled individuals, or as I call them, special needs, or very special able people. My son asked for me to do this, and this is why I have continued to broadcast and continue to keep my face out in the light so that they're able to work these restaurants. So look for the restaurant. I will be having it out. It will launch out in the state of Georgia, and then I will come back to Florida and launch it out over here. I have really enjoyed each and every one of you guys. Gerald, I want to get with you with y'all step for that. I would like to get together with a few men that are, and women, that would back up changing these laws to where a man is in a safe place to be able to talk about it and report it and speak up about it, because that's not right. You know, it's not right to hit a woman, but it's worse, I think, to hit the man, because that's your protector. You're just taking all that manhood away, in my opinion. And I'm I believe in submitting to that man. I really do. Like, you know, my ways are very different than these modern women today, right? So, anyways, I say all that to say this. I will see you guys next week. This was Lunchtime with Anna tonight. This was it. I won't see you guys till next week. I will see y'all next week. I love each and every one of you guys. My boy, Carlos, hashtag his name because we need him home. I will be putting a petition to get him home because domestic violence is not okay. And shame on any of you women who do this. Y'all have a great night. Bye.
You too. Bye.
Good night. Good night.
Good night.